Wife accused me of cheating, threw my laptop in anger when I tried to prove my innocence. Now I'm staying with my parents. Me, 44 male, and my wife Grace, 42F. Married for 13 years, together for 16. I met Grace about the time I got out of the military. It was a medical discharge. I met her while I was at the hospital for surgery. She was a nurse on the floor I was staying on, single mom, divorced for a couple of years. I left the military, went back to school, and now I work from home as a software engineer, more or less. We started dating, took it slow the first couple of years because of her daughter, Maya, who was 5 at the time. Grace is still a nurse and Maya goes to college. I would have said, until last month, that our marriage was pretty solid. We've had arguments. I admit I was kind of shit at housekeeping when we first moved in together because I was not used to how much kids tear things up around the house. But other than that it was good. No step-parent issues. I had an active role in Maya's life because her own father lives overseas for work. We went on dates. Intimacy has always been great. We wanted kids but it wasn't in the cards for us. Honestly, I'm a bit blindsided. I've had friends who were blindsided by divorce but I never understood how. Usually there were problems that they glossed over and then suddenly their wives would leave them and they just didn't see it coming. But the rest of us could see it coming from a mile away. So here I'm saying the same thing and maybe I just missed something huge. The past few months Grace has been more stressed than usual. Ever since COVID, she's been burnt out and I asked her multiple times if she wanted to quit her job, at least for a couple of years. I thought the burnout was coming to a head. She was withdrawn, angry. She snapped at me constantly, she ridiculed Maya over everything. But she's my wife, she was traumatized by the pandemic, and both Maya and I were understanding. We would do okay with just my salary, so last month I sat her down to suggest again that she quit and take some time off to heal. Then everything blew up. She started yelling at me that she knew what I was doing. She's known for months. She has proof. I didn't know what she was talking about at first but it didn't take long to realize she was accusing me of infidelity. I can't lie, I was angry as hell. I opened my phone, handed it to her, told her to go through it. I went and got my laptop, unlocked it, told her to go through that. The whole time she's still shouting at me about some other woman. I don't have traditional social media accounts. I'm on Lobsters, Hacker News, and I have a Reddit account. I told her to check everything. There's no secret Facebook or Instagram or whatever. No messages from anyone. I opened Discord, even Slack. Everything I could think of. But she wouldn't even look at it. She just got angrier and then she picked up my laptop and threw it. That's when I had enough and left. I went to my parents' house. All the while, Grace was texting and calling and leaving more and more unhinged messages about this woman she knows I'm with. When I got to my parents' house I called her once and told her I needed a few days because I was too angry to handle talking to her. My sister called the next morning and told her Grace had called her multiple times as well to see if I was really there. After a few days I called Grace to talk and at first the conversation was productive. She apologized for throwing the laptop but she said I made her so angry because I was being so calm. I told her I was not calm because I was being accused of cheating on my wife and I was furious but it was either try to talk it out or start shouting, which I didn't think was a good idea. Then she got angry, told me I was twisting her words and things fell apart quickly. She started going on and on again that she knew I was cheating, she had proof. I asked her what proof, because I would like to see it. I don't remember how we got there but she said she was going to send everything to the lawyer and I said fine, send a copy to mine because this was going nowhere. She got really quiet after that and asked if I was serious and I said I wasn't going to stay in a marriage where my wife thinks I cheated on her but won't tell me why. We ended the call there and I've been at my parents' house since. My dad is on my side, my mom thinks Grace is just having a rough time and that we can talk this through. My sister is pissed she got dragged into it so she thinks we're both assholes, and Maya is miserable because she's being torn between me and her mom. I feel like maybe I jumped the gun and should have stayed calmer. Edit, my morning meetings are finally over and I need to concentrate on my job so I'm going to be logging out for the day. I'm going to talk to my mom to see if she'll talk to Grace. Suggest therapy, couples therapy, etc. I believe those of you who suggested missing reasons are correct. Something is causing this, I just don't know if it's something I've done, stress in her life, or if it's full-on projection. I don't think it is. But you never know. I'll assure Maya again that she has a place here no matter what. As far as I'm concerned, she's my daughter and of course she's got a place here if she needs it. However, I also won't try to pressure her considering that's her mom and I know this is pulling her in 2 ways. Second edit, okay, so I took a quick break and thought I'd come back and read a couple comments but there are way too many to read. But there is an overall theme to them so I'll try to quickly address them here. Someone asked if I was cheating. I understand why you asked that, I never came out and said in the post but let me assure you, no. I'm not cheating. I never have. Granted, those are just words and I'm sure some will think that I'm lying. But I love my wife. I never wanted to cheat. I'm not a saint, I've been attracted to people. I think Salma Hayek is gorgeous. But the thought of cheating has never crossed my mind. A lot of people think she's cheating on me. Again, I don't think so. She's home every night at the same time. She doesn't hide away her devices. Could there be someone at work? Yes. Do I think she's cheating? No. But as many pointed out, those are famous last words. Talking about divorce/staying calm. I have PTSD. I've worked a lot in therapy over the years to process intense emotions. It's why I stay calm. Not because I am, but because if I don't then I get overwhelmed. The talk to my lawyer comment was one of those moments I didn't process well. I don't think it's a good idea to divorce her after over a decade together because of this past month. On the other hand, I know that because it's not a safe place for me mentally, I'll stay at my parents' until we get this resolved. Could it be hormones? Yes. It could. However, my wife is already taking hormones because of a medical procedure she had when she was in her early 30s. Like I said, it wasn't in the cards to have kids. She has to see the doctor usually every 6 months to check her levels. Her last appointment was in March. However, her mood changes started before that. Mental health issues? This is what I think it is personally. Like I said, Grace has been building up to a burnout for a while now. These mood changes started a while ago, it's why I brought up taking time off of work. It's why I brought it up again last month when she blew up at me. I think this is stress. It's why I haven't actually contacted a lawyer. Because I hope my marriage can be saved. I think I just wanted reassurance from a neutral third party because I'm so far out of my depth here. To those who say don't get my mom involved. My mom already is. She and Grace are incredibly close. She's called Grace every day to check on her. Grace has no contact with her own family. So I'm not really involving mom as much as I'm just asking her to suggest marriage counseling to her the next time she calls. I sure as hell don't want to get some other party involved in this, so I'm not going to contact a friend to talk to my wife. I haven't been no contact with my wife since I left. I probably should have clarified that. She messages me, sometimes it's the same silly stuff we've always talked about like random memes she's found or crap her coworkers are doing. And sometimes it's her begging me to just tell her the truth. I'm exhausted mentally from this all and at the end of my rope. I've suggested therapy a couple of times already but that's gotten nowhere. Hopefully mom bringing it up might help. Why the throwaway? Because my coworkers also have Reddit accounts and I don't want them to see this post. They might, but hopefully software guy in his 40s with a wife in nursing is generic enough to American audiences that they won't know it's me. But if it's on my actual account, they definitely will. No one at work knows and I'd like to keep it that way. I think that's everything. I want to add though, please don't disparage my wife. I'm upset over this because my wife is a great woman. She's smart, she's funny, she's sweet. She's been a wonderful mother and that's why I've been worried the past few months about her. Because this is so out of character. Update 1. No. My wife is not cheating on me. As far as I know, she's not sick, got a tumor, or showing signs of early dementia. If she were, those things would be easier to process. Maybe it's perimenopause or menopause, I don't know. I don't care. Yes, I will be seeking a divorce. No, I will not go into it farther. I have already spoken to a lawyer. Maya is currently living with me and my parents. I will be looking for an apartment/condo to rent soon. I feel like I've overstayed my welcome. Maya is thinking of taking some time off to visit her dad. I don't blame her. I'm a fucking mess right now. I don't even know why I logged back into this account other than to say no. My wife really wasn't cheating on me. I can honestly say I wish she was. It'd be so much fucking easier than this shit. Thanks for the advice and the concern. I'm sorry if this isn't the right community but my friend suggested it and I thought maybe this might be the right place to vent, or get advice or something. I'm not sure what information is necessary or relevant so I'm just going to write everything down I can think of. I've been married to my wife Grace for 13 years. We've been together for 16. When we first got together she told me she was low/no contact with her family. There was some obvious trauma regarding it and as someone with PTSD, I respected that she may not be ready to share it. Plus, my family loved her so I was happy to share. After dating for a while, right before I proposed, she told me more about her family. Grace is from a deeply fundamentalist Christian family. I know the umbrella stuff was a big deal as well as marrying young and a lot of really fucked up shit. She got married at 16 to the son of family friends. He was 19. She was kind of lucky in a way because her ex-husband moved her across the state and away from her family and she was able to finish school and start college. From what I can gather he wanted out of the cult too. She had their daughter, Maya, when she was 21 and he was finishing up his last year of school. When he finished school he went off to grad school in Europe and she moved back home to her family. They got divorced soon after. After the divorce her family tried to marry Grace off to a guy that was over twice her age, which was her cue to finally get out too. From what little she would tell me, it was not an easy exit. A lot of violence was involved and she suggested there was SA/attempted kidnapping from the older man. However, eventually she got out. She took her daughter, moved in with a distant aunt, cut off most of the family. A few years later she met me and the rest was history. Until this year. The past few months my wife has been very snappish, sudden bouts of anger, withdrawn. She's a nurse and I thought at first she was burnt out. She was working days at a time with no break during the pandemic. I thought the trauma of that and just non-stop COVID shit was finally coming to a head, and I suggested a few times maybe she should take some time off. The last time I suggested it, she blew up at me and started accusing me of cheating. It was an intense fight. She said she had proof and I wanted to see it. She threw my laptop and I left. We had another fight a bit later over the phone where she said she'd send the proof of my infidelity to a lawyer, and I said pass it on to mine. After that we mostly talked via text, and it was mostly her sending me updates at work or silly memes. Periodically she'd plead with me to tell her the truth about the cheating, but I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. For the past few weeks I've been waiting to see what proof she had, for her to talk to me more than a few memes here and there, anything. I've been living with my parents and it's been fucking stressful. I was thinking I was never going to find out what was going on until a few days ago when she showed up at my parents' to talk. And finally she told me the proof of me cheating, which was her coworker had told my wife she had seen me with another, much younger woman. So okay, I can handle that. I ask some follow-up questions. What did she look like? Where was this? Etc. I figure out pretty quickly that she's talking about Maya. We go to the hospital to eat lunch with her sometimes, and her coworker must have seen us together. Simple mistake, right? Except my wife knew that her coworker was describing Maya and was more or less suggesting I was cheating on her with the child I helped raise and calls me dad. I tried not to get angry because I know she has a lot of trauma with older men being with younger women, especially after what her parents tried to force her to do. But at same time, I felt disgusted and betrayed she'd ever think I'd do that, and the conversation devolved into another argument. During that argument she admitted that it wasn't just any coworker, the coworker is her first cousin Shalia. And Shalia is still in the church. It all starts tumbling out that she's been hanging out with Shalia during downtime. She's been calling and talking to her dad. The one that tried to marry her off to a man older than I am right now. She's been going to church meetings again when I thought she was at work. And you know what? None of the church stuff would be a problem. If she wants to be Christian, whatever. Except everything she's spewing is a contradiction to every other thing she's spewing. First, I evidently am in my prime years for children. I'm 44. I'm past my prime for kids. Maya is 21 and I'm thrilled to have her living at home, but I'm also thrilled she can clean her own bathroom. Because my dad is secular Jewish, he's evil, and that evil is passed down to me. My mom is more evil because she was Christian. She never really was. Her family was lapsed Catholic. I'm not sure she's ever even been to mass, but mom turned her back on the church and didn't raise me Christian, which is evil. My mom, a woman who loves my wife probably more than she loves me, is now a sinner and deceitful, according to my wife. But more than all of that, the part that makes me sickest and pushed me to actually call a lawyer was that she suggested our daughter, brilliant amazing kid that loves her mom so much, is to blame because she's young and flaunting herself. It's all jumbled up in my brain. There was so much more. She went on for what felt like hours before I asked her to leave. I wasn't a good provider because she had to work. I know I reminded her that I was suggesting she take time off from work, but evidently that was proof that I was just trying to isolate her from her family. There were so many fucking tangents and conspiracies. Like Suga's, King she get therapy, which I've been doing since before the pandemic, but especially after the pandemic, was me trying to brainwash her to be okay with me having an affair with Maya. I don't understand any of it. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know how to even start. That evening, after my wife left, Maya called crying because her mom was saying some really awful shit to her. So I told Maya to come stay with my parents and I, and it just added flames to fire, so now Grace thinks we're living together. I called a lawyer and I think my marriage is over and I don't know what to do. I don't know where the fundamentalist shit starts and where the conspiracy ends and what I'm even supposed to do to fix things. I don't know that I can fix things. I don't even know how I miss things falling apart to this extent. Update 2. I saw my wife earlier today. Wanted to sit down and start talking about what divorce was going to look like between us. We have over a decade of our finances, our home, our lives intermingled. I've been paying for Maya's school. It's her job that we get most of our insurance coverage from. I put the down payment on our house, but she's paid off just as much of it as I have. We'll have lawyers do all this, but at the same time I just wanted to look at her and make her see what she was doing. Divorce isn't just a word, it's a real concrete thing. The lives that we have been living are over as we know it. We're not old, it's not like we can't move on from this, but at the same time I've been her husband for so long I don't know who I am without her. When I got home I started drinking and I haven't stopped all evening. Which is fucking stupid, don't do what I did. I just couldn't stop. I kept seeing her, sitting across from me. Refusing to look at me. I don't know her anymore. And I'm not sure if I ever did. My therapist talks about masking, right? Because of the PTSD and ADHD and shit. I mask a lot with coworkers or clients or whatever, boo. I never had to mask at home. And now I'm wondering if this entire marriage she was just masking being happy with me. Was she miserable the whole time? Did she pick me because I was stable and a good dad figure to Maya? I'm not ugly, I'm not handsome either. Our sex life was good, but was it? Was she just doing it because she learned all that shit as a kid that she had to please her husband? I feel sick. I feel like I abused her because I don't know how much of it was her and how much was just the programming she went through in that fucking church. And Maya, Christ, Maya is just. She's not great. She's trying so hard to be stoic and strong, but she's my baby girl. I taught her how to fish and she's better at it than I am. She taught me how to knit when I was having trouble with work during the pandemic and struggling with the lockdown. She's such an amazing kid and she's hurting, and I hate Julie for that. I hate her for hurting our kid. But I love her. And that hurts too. I don't know what the point of this was. I came back to read over the theories about cheating on me or menopause. I thought what we had was fixable. I thought if I worked at it we could change things. And it's just over. It's so fucking final. Let that be a lesson. Sometimes shit just ends and there is nothing any of us can do about it. Update 3. First, I have officially met with a lawyer last week. From what she said, it will take about 10 to 20 business days before my ex-wife will be properly served. Beyond that, it could take anywhere from a couple of months to over a year depending on how complicated untangling our finances are. I am no longer in contact with my ex and neither is Maya. She has texted me a few times, sometimes accusing me of not being man enough to be a proper husband and sometimes sending me cute cat pictures. It's like I see the person I married in there, but for the most part she seems to be gone. I've gotten a few different messages, and as I'm not the best at replying to strangers, I'll try to post it here. No, I'm not going to have my ex-wife committed. I know the version of Christianity she's with is cult-like. It demands obedience in all forms and punishes anyone who steps outside of that. She certainly has religious trauma. But she's also an adult and not psychotic, as one person so eloquently put it. I think that if she were to ever get proper help she might be able to move on from the trauma. But no one can force her to do that. I know, I tried for years to talk her into therapy. I'm not abusing alcohol or becoming an alcoholic. I got drunk one night. I don't suggest it to anyone. I haven't really done that much since I was in my early 20s and it was a very uncomfortable experience. I forgot how awful it actually is to feel so numb and yet feel everything so intensely. Don't worry, I'm not going to fall off some sort of edge into an addict's abyss. If anything, that just cemented why I don't drink more than a beer or two at a barbecue. And it also reminded me that I'm in my 40s now and hangovers are so much worse now. I can't get custody of Maya because she's an adult. I pay for her college and I'm going to continue to do so. She's my little girl, no matter how old she gets, and she'll always have a home with me. As for Maya, she's officially put a pause on school this semester. She's going to go stay with her father for a month, travel a bit around Europe for a month and then hopefully be back before Thanksgiving. No later than Christmas, she may go back to her dad and stay a second month with him. I'm apprehensive about her traveling Europe by herself. I know people do it every day, but they're not my kids. She is. So I worry. I still haven't found a place. I looked at some rentals, but my parents reminded me it would be better to buy if I can find something small enough. So right now I'm looking at various condos in my price range. A condo feels more manageable than a house. Depending on where I am in the divorce, when I finally find something and get offers accepted, my parents will front me the costs and I can pay them back over the next year or two. I guess the only shocking update I have is from our mutual friends. I found out from a few of them that my ex-wife had just cut them off or told them we didn't want their friendships. And since my ex and I were pretty much attached at the hip, they didn't think to ask me if that was right. Or maybe I was so distracted with my own issues and with my ex having such a difficult time that I didn't notice they had stopped coming around or texting or left group chats or whatever. I need to take more responsibility there. I wasn't paying attention to anything but my ex. I didn't notice just how stressed Maya was. I knew she was tense, but I didn't notice just how bad it had gotten. I didn't notice our friend slowly disappearing. I didn't notice changes in my own behavior. That's the insidious part. We were circling the drain back in January, but I was clinging to this hope that if I just got my ex some help that things would mend themselves. Now Maya is so stressed she doesn't want to go back to school. My work has suffered, though thankfully my boss has been there and is being very understanding. My friendships have to be repaired and I don't even know where to start getting them to trust me again. That's it. Everything feels like it's moving at a snail's pace and I just want everything to be over with. And yet, everything feels like it's rushing by and still turning my life upside down. I know it will eventually even itself out. Things will get better, or at the very least I'll no longer feel like I'm stuck in a tumbler dryer with sneakers. Oop, I started a comment and I wrote out an entire thing angry, but I'm too tired to really do this. I can't have my ex committed. That's not how involuntary commitment works, it's not how state laws work. It's not how reality works. Stop messaging me that I'm a bad husband because I'm not calling the cops on her or getting the courts involved. If anything, I'd just be harassing her. She's lucid, she's eating, she's not on drugs, and she's not going to harm herself. She goes to work. Gets coffee. Pays bills out of our joint account. She's not delusional. I can tell when she talks to me that she doesn't really even believe any of this shit. She parrots back talking points her dad or her cousin or the church give her. Because sometimes being miserable with trauma is easier than the incredibly hard work it takes to confront the trauma. At some point in all of this I can't do any more for her. Years upon years I've suggested therapy. Not just because of her past. There were so many reasons, but biggest is because sometimes it just helps to talk to someone. Even if it's about dropping the groceries in front of the house and getting overwhelmed and having a bad fucking day. We were lucky. We had access to help. Not everyone does. We had the money. Not everyone does. We had the ability and the time, and not everyone does. And at some point it's her responsibility to get help. If I honestly thought she was delusional, this wouldn't hurt so much. I remember what it was like to be so lost in those thoughts and a reality that never existed. But she's not. She's always chosen to not get help. Side note, I don't know why my shit is up on Facebook or TikTok or whatever. I don't really care. If there's anything that anyone can learn from any of this is, trauma doesn't go away just because you want it to. If you have access to help, get help. You can only power through so much before it catches up. Oop, I think the initial fight, the one where she accused me and claimed she had proof, I think that she believed that. I have no proof of this, but I think that her family probably claimed to have more concrete proof than they saw me with her. I think it was a way to get under her skin and to drive us apart. However, since that initial fight where everything blew up, I think reality came back up. I think that she realized that it's an empty accusation, but I also think that this is where the trauma started really pushing her to double down. The night of the big fight she was so sure that even I wondered what the hell I had done to cause her to think that I was cheating. I looked at everything in my life, and thanks to some other Redditor I looked up the whole text/message scams about cheating spouses and getting money for the proof. I thought that's where this was heading. But after the truth came out, I don't know how to explain it other than she was just half-heartedly pushing it. There wasn't any conviction like there was the night she blew up at me. I'm not sure how to describe it any better. Her heart is just no into the accusation. Like she doesn't really believe it, but it's what she's clinging to because that's what her family is saying. Hence why I think this is more of a trauma response than an actual delusion. The divorce papers have been served. This past Wednesday. Grace didn't take it well. There were several angry phone calls that I ignored and one I finally took. She accused me of turning Maya against her. As if calling her own daughter a whore wasn't enough on its own. We hashed out the whole cheating thing again. She waved it off. Evidently, to her, the accusation wasn't that serious. And I should have forgiven her for her mistake and instead I've abandoned her. Which I guess in some ways is true. I left. But I don't know what she wanted. I don't know what she thought was going to happen. I still don't understand the end game here. Her family's goals, sure. They wanted to split us up and they succeeded beautifully. But what the fuck did she think was going to happen? She said I wasn't a real man. A real man wouldn't have let her work, I guess. Once again, I pointed out that I told her multiple times she could quit her job, but that fell on deaf ears. She made it abundantly clear that she's going to fight me on every bit of this divorce, so there goes any hope for something as simple and clean as possible. She's told me she's already looking for other men to replace me, but almost in the same breath told me that I can't divorce her. Because of her reaction, I have put on hold any thoughts about buying a place. My parents are thinking of buying a cabin near a lake, and if they do that, then I can eventually buy their current home. But until then I will be looking for an apartment. I need the space. I can't keep tripping over them. I love them to death, but they're hovering because they're worried. But I just want some quiet and some time to myself. Maya left for her dad's. She arrived last Monday and we FaceTimed twice already. She's enjoying the time away from her mom and away from the drama. I told her to go and enjoy herself and that things are fine here, but I think she's worried about me too, so we set up Sunday nights to be our weekly Skype call. Some of my friends have been bugging me to go out or start a dating profile. And some friends have been making me random food items, think jams, sugar cream pies, casseroles. I appreciate the food a lot. I've probably gained 5 pounds just from the jams alone. My friend Heather made me homemade apple butter and quite frankly I ate it all in 2 days. It was amazing. I'm staying away from dating. I'll try to stay away from the apple butter as well.